Hi guys, it's me Ty here, and today I'm going to talk about uh, my experience here visiting all three of the Aeon malls here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. This is my second year of living in Cambodia, and like last year, money was more tight, so I just walked everywhere. I didn't like really explore outside of my area very often, other than when I was like looking for a job or going to work, stuff like that. So I've been more used to just Aeon 1, which I've been going to a lot. That's the one over by Royal Palace, the one on Riverside. And we have Soria Shopping Center and Central Market and Phnom Penh Night Market. Those are our three malls, main big malls that we use around Riverside area. And I'd watched a YouTube video from Itchy Feet on the Cheap one a few years ago here, and he was showing the review on one of the Aeon malls. It was like a new one that got built. I didn't know if it was Aeon 2 or Aeon 3, and it's where they have a big playground on the roof or whatever, and a big skywalk and stuff like that. And that is actually the um, Aeon 3. It's the brand new one there. It's got like a big lake outside of it or whatever, like a rice paddy field or something like that for drainage and all that. I was thinking about what's the cheapest way to do this. So I decided that I'm just going to start taking the public bus all around the city because we have, I don't know, we could probably have 40 different bus routes here that our buses follow, and it's only 1,500 Cambodia real, so it's less than 50 cents to take the bus. So um, I said I was going to go to Aeon to Sensoc, and I always knew that was up by the airport. And so what I ended up having to do is I took bus number 3 out here from by Riverside, so that was about 50 cents. And then I got off and I had dinner. There's a little place to have uh, local Cambodia food, rice and pork or whatever. And I did have to walk at least 5 blocks to make my connecting bus. Um, and then I hopped on that bus and it took me straight to Aeon to Sensoc. And so I had a dollar into that bus ride there. And I walked all throughout the mall. And I have to say that Aeon 2 Sensoc is way more extravagant than Aeon 1. Uh, um, they have the, like all of them have like a food court floor, but that one, it's yeah, it's absolutely amazing, you guys. Yeah, it's something else. And then they also have a big carnival up on like fourth floor or whatever. So it was really neat. And then of course some of the high school students came and to visit with me because that's the first thing that I noticed. Like even when I originally moved here on the bus, the university students and all of them, they would come right up to me on the bus and just want to practice their English and visit. So I was telling them that yes, like all this time I've always just gone to Aeon 1, and I was like, uh, which do you guys like the best? Or I was like, have you guys been to Aeon 3 and stuff like that? And they're like, oh yeah, we've just been to Aeon 2 and Aeon 3. We've never been to Aeon 1. And they asked me, they're like, well, how is Aeon 1? I was like, actually, it's a lot smaller than this, and it's a lot more boring than this one here. And I was like, have you guys been to Aeon 3? And they're like, yep, we've been to both, but they're like, um, uh, Aeon 3, it's I don't know if it's quite as big as Sensoc. Maybe they're close to the same size, but they're like Aeon 2 Sensoc that we're at right now. They're like, this is the best one or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool, cool. It's like I'll have to think about that. And so then like 2 days later, um, and then also, so I'll tell you about getting home. So yeah, I just hopped on the bus from there back to where I came from or whatever, and then I had to walk at least 5 blocks or whatever, hop on the other bus to come home. So it was a total of $2 for the bus rides to go out to Sensoc. So it's cheap, you guys. And then like 2 days later, I said I'm gonna go out to Sensoc 3, and I had a lot of confusion of how to get to Sensoc 3 because it's not actually labeled that. Because when I go and type on Google Maps Aeon Mall, because I was hoping that all of them would show up, and it said Aeon Mall Phnom Penh, and then Aeon Mall Sensoc would show up, and then they would have Aeon Mall Chey, I believe is what it is. but it looked like the Mean Chey one is located at the exact same spot as Aeon Mall Phnom Penh, where I live here by Riverside. And I was like, "God darn it!" So I was all confused. I actually thought maybe I wasn't even gonna go or whatever. But the Mean Chey one, it looked like it might be a little bit further away from the river than, even though they looked like, than Aeon Mall Phnom Penh. So I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. So I went up and I hopped on the bus and I paid my 50 cents, and that bus ride took me um, almost all the way out of town, and then and I got off and there was a bus stop right next to it, so I was able to hop on a connecting bus, and that one took me straight out into the rice paddy fields by the little lake or whatever, to uh, Aeon 3. And I went there, and the first thing that I noticed about Aeon 3 is that when you walk in, they have a big amphitheater in there with a giant movie screen, and they had tons of couches with pillows, and all the grandma and grandpas and the parents and everybody were watching Hollywood movies on there. It was free to the public, and they were, like I said, they were Hollywood movies, and then they also had subtitles on them, and they were all in English too, just because people's kids are loud. You're in a mall or whatever. And then up on the second floor, they actually have the cutout uh, benches, like in a real amphitheater, like when you go to a campground or whatever, to watch stuff there. So it's pretty neat. And every few hours they show a different movie. Like when I was there, it was one of the Jumanji movies. I don't know if it was Jumanji 1 or Jumanji 2. It was one of the ones with the Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, in it. So I walked all over that mall. And one thing I have to say is, like, even with Sensoc kind of being out in the middle of nowhere, and then this Aeon Mall 3 kind of out in the middle of nowhere, every single one of those malls had tons of people in there. And every single one of those malls also had foreigners in there. And I'm not talking about just the foreigners that live here and work here. A lot of them were foreigners that were on holiday. So just backpacking, their boyfriend and girlfriend from Europe or whatever, boyfriend girlfriend from Australia together, and yeah, and also at Aeon 3 there, I saw a man from Africa with his Cambodian wife and their two little kids. They had like free like clay classes or whatever that the kids can play all their stuff. So like I said, that is still one of the best things about Cambodia, and the Philippines as well. With Cambodia, out of Asia here, you see so many men from Africa and so many men from uh, Europe that have started families, and they're just living the life, finally raising a family of their own. And I also saw at Aeon 3 a European girl and her Cambodian boyfriend too. So I guess the girls are coming over here to Southeast Asia to meet a nice guy too. So that was really neat to see too. And then when I came back, I just did the exact same thing. Just went outside the parking lot there, out on the actual highway, and waited for a bus to pick me up. And that was 50 cents. Then I just walked over to the next bus stop, and it was right there, and paid another 50 cents. And later in the day, you do wait a long time for a bus. So it was only a total of $2 to go to Aeon 3. So it was all good, you guys. And I definitely recommend going there. And one thing I noticed with all the Aeon malls is they have quite similar stores than them, but Aeon 2 Sensoc does not have a Mr. DIY in it. So like if you're looking for a place to live around here, I would not suggest living in Sensoc, because Mr. DIY is such a critical store as a foreigner and for anybody, because it's like a hardware store. They have everything in there. They have tools, they have bolts, they have towels, they have raincoats, um, lotion. They just have everything. It's probably the most visited store here in Phnom Penh by foreigners, and the locals use it too. But just for your independence. So um, not too much more of that. I might make a video on the new stadium that they put up where they host the Aeon games, but I haven't actually stopped in there because I ended up at that safari uh, instead for that day. And I might actually do the water slides here right next to the Phnom Penh Safari Zoo. they also have what's called I think it's called like Garden City water slides or something. These water slides are just massive, so I might end up doing that one of these days and find out how much they cost too. So, all right, if you guys like this content, like, share, and subscribe, and I will keep kicking out these videos here from Phnom Penh, Cambodia. All right, take care, you guys.